Man, so who is Jesus? Like, who is he really? Not like who you think he is, but like, who is Jesus really? Who does Scripture say that Jesus is? Who does Jesus say he is in Scripture? So far, you've looked at Jesus being the bread of life, the light of the world. And today, we're going to look at Jesus being the good shepherd. So without waiting, because we have a lot to get over and cover tonight, John chapter 10, verses 1 through 15. Let's just jump right in. Verse 1. It says, I tell you the truth. Anyone who sneaks over the wall of a sheepfold rather than going through the gate must surely be a thief and a robber. But the one who enters through the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep recognize his voice and come to him. He calls his own sheep by name, he leads them out, and after he has gathered his own flock, he walks ahead of them, he leads them. And they follow him because they know his voice. They won't follow a stranger, they will run from him because they don't know his voice. So first off, to understand a few things tonight, we have to understand what's going on there with the shepherd and the sheep, because we don't live in a time of shepherds, right? Or at least we don't live in an area where we see sheep just walking down the road, right? And so we have to kind of understand what's going on with the sheep and the shepherd. So if you will, put the first picture up. So to understand that, you have to understand this is called a sheepfold, okay? So this is called a sheepfold, and what would happen here is at night, the shepherd would take the sheep into their herd, into the sheepfold, okay? So they would take them in there, and it wouldn't just be like one flock, one herd there of sheep to a sheepfold. There would be multiple sheep would come into this area at night, right? And so what would happen then is once the sheep was in there, the shepherd, they would take turns and they would lay down and they would lay across this entrance, right? You can see the entrance there. The shepherd would lay across that, and for a couple of reasons, right? First, to protect the sheep from leaving. He would lay there, and so sheep wouldn't get out and wander off in the night, because out in the darkness, there's just stuff that could happen. They could wander off a cliff. They could get eaten pretty easily. So it would protect the sheep from leaving. It would protect other animals from, like wolves, from coming in and just having just destroying the sheep there. So he would stop other animals from coming in, but he would also stop other people from coming in and stealing the sheep. So he would literally lay his life across this area. Became the gate, if you will. And then in the morning, the shepherd, he would come and he would call his sheep by name. He would go in and he would call his sheep. Now, I don't know, I don't know, how that happened. I don't know, Jimmy, Billy, I don't know your name, but you're Fluffy, let's go. I don't know how that works. But he would come, and the sheep, though, they would know their shepherd's voice, and they would follow him or her to a place of safety, in a place where their needs would be met. So now obviously Jesus here is using the word shepherd as a metaphor. Though what's crazy though is some people, they still aren't getting it. And we'll talk about those some people in a little bit, but there are some people who just still are not getting this. Verse 6, it says, those who heard Jesus use this illustration didn't understand what he meant. So he explained it to them. It says, I tell you the truth. I am the gate for the sheep. Now remember, Jesus would lay down across this, right? He would lay down across this. So to get to the sheep, you had to go through the shepherd, right? You had to come through Jesus to become part of his flock. Are you catching what Jesus is saying there? If you want to be part of my flock, if you want to be part of who we are, you must come through me. And then he also says, listen, Jesus is saying, I'm here, right here, I'm the gate. In other words, he's saying, I got you. He's saying, I got you. To use some theological terms, it's really a picture of justification and sanctification. Justification means that you are justified before God because of Jesus. Because Jesus says, if you're standing, but when you die before God, and he's like, whoa, that person's a sinner. Jesus steps up and says, no, I got him. He's saved. My blood, I'm justifying him. He is justified. Because of my blood, you are justified. So he's saying, listen, he came through the gate. I'm the gate. She walked through the gate. She's part of my flock. But then he also sanctifies. It's this growing. It's this ongoing growing in Jesus. Not only say, you come through me, but he also says, hey, if you're part of my flock, I got you. I got you. I'm going to protect you. I'm going to guide you. I'm going to lead you. I want you to follow me. He says, I got you. Verse 8. All who came before me were thieves and robbers, but the true sheep did not listen to them. Side note there, it says true sheep, which means there were some of them, some of us, who maybe act like sheep, but reality is we're not sheep. That's a whole nother verse and a whole nother message for a whole nother day. But it does say that there's evidence of the Spirit. But again, that's a whole nother sermon. But it says some of you are true sheep, and you did not listen. Verse 9, yes, I am the gate, and those who come in through me will be saved. Here it is. They will come and go freely and will find good pastures. So you may have heard that terminology a little in another area. You may have it hanging in your house somewhere. Psalm 23. Psalm 23, Jesus says, or the psalmist there says, hey, I am your shepherd. I will lead you to green pastures. Right? Who's heard of that verse before, right? Psalm 23. Though I am your shepherd, you will lay down in green pastures. And here, Jesus is saying, listen, if you're in me, you will come and you will go freely and you will find these good pastures. But I want to show you something. A lot of us, we think of this when we think green pastures, right? Like when we think of like, oh yeah, I'm with Jesus, and man, if we're honest, so if we're honest, maybe some of us live our Christian life like this. Man, we're just laying down just like, good. But a lot of us, when we think green pastures, we think this. But man, can I show you something really cool? So in Israel, if you look at Israel, this is what they would have seen in green pastures. This is what it meant. Go to the next one. So if it's kind of hard maybe with the lighting, but this is just like a bunch of rock, right? That's not, when I hear green pastures, I don't necessarily think of this. Okay, but let me explain what would have been going on here. Because if you're looking at this, if you were to like pinch and like zoom in, go to the next picture, you would see this. If you notice there's rock and there's a little piece there's some grass right there. This is the green pastures that spoke of here. And what happens is that in this area, there's not a lot of ground that grass just takes off and grows in. There's a lot of rocky soil. But because of the moisture and because of the air blowing through at night, around rocks, you would see little patches of grass growing, and there would be green. And so ultimately, what God is saying here, what Jesus is saying here is like, listen, I am going to lead you to good pastures. I am going to lead you to mouthful to mouthful. I'm going to lead you every single day. And how I want to lead you is every single day. Every single day, I want to bring you to these good pastures. I want to give you what you need every single day. So the shepherd leads and he's like, here, go here, go here. It's not just this opening and blah, go. Day by day, Jesus wants to take you to these pastures. And he wants to give you what you need, mouthful to mouthful. Someone said one time, worry is trying to solve tomorrow's problems in today's pasture. This idea of you and I looking ahead and worrying about what's coming on, and in the middle of what God has given you right now for today, like he's going, here's what you need today. And you're going, yeah, God, I got that. But what about? He's like, no, today. This is for today. Man, for me, that just changes when God says, I'm going to come and I'm going to give you rest. So in other words, every day you don't have to stress. I'm going to lead you to these green pastures. But then he keeps going, verse 10. Verse 10 says the thief's purpose, right? He's talking back to this idea of shepherds. He says the thief's purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy. My purpose, though, is to come and give them rich and satisfying life. Like the thief, the thief has one set of intentions. It is to steal, kill, and destroy. Like it says, the thief's purpose, like that is his purpose, is to kill, steal, and destroy you. Man, if that is true, let me ask you a question. Why do we flirt with it then? Man, when I say we, I'm in line with you, arm in arm here. Like, why do we flirt with the thief, Satan, evil, sin? Man, it would be like at the top of a tall skyscraper, just saying, hey, I'm gonna lean back and you hold me and let's play again. I'm gonna lean back and then pull me in. Like, that's insane, because if you fall, it's instant death. It's instant death. So why do we flirt with the thief that his whole purpose is to steal, kill, and destroy us? When Jesus says, my purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life. A rich and satisfying life. Jesus is saying, listen, if you follow me, it's not just going to be this like following, like, man, I follow Jesus. But he wants to give you this rich, abundant life. Not this, I'm going to be banking and have everything I have, but you're going to eat richly, like Jesus said. He's like, it's not that green pasture, but I'm going to give you what you need every day. And you're going to be so fulfilled in me. And there's going to be so much goodness. And that's my purpose, to make your life full. To make your life full. Let me keep going. Verse 11. And Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. Verse 12. A hired hand will run. I was thinking today, I think for some of us, this hired hand is really the good stuff that God may give us, athletics, academic, whatever. That like God gives us this, and he gives us these needs. And they're not bad in nature, but really they're a hired hand. And so when things get tough, like this hired hand, when he sees a wolf, he runs, he abandons the sheep because they don't belong to him. And he isn't their shepherd. And so the wolf, when they attacks, they scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for money and does not really care about the sheep. The hired hand runs. The good things in your life, the things that you may turn to find satisfaction, the boy, the girl, the athletics, the academics, whatever it is, they're just a hired hand in your life. And when things get tough, they're not going to be there. They run. But Jesus says, I got you. I am the good shepherd. I will not leave you when the world seeks to destroy you. But the reality is, guys, here's the reality. The reality is, man, we are already destroyed. The reality is because of our sin, we are already destroyed. Sin has already destroyed us. Though through Jesus and the cross, he brings us life. He calls himself the gate. He brings us that life. Says you come in through the gate, you have life. And not just life, not just a life that's okay, but a life that should be rich and satisfying. So, how do we have this life with Jesus says? Like, how do we have this life Jesus says he gives us, right? First off, I think you make Jesus your only shepherd. You make him Lord and Savior. You make him Lord and Savior. And second, how do the sheep get to green pastures, right? Like, that isn't a trick question. Like, how does the sheep get to green pastures? Well, they follow him. They simply follow him. But then the next question is, how and why do sheep follow the shepherd? Like, how do they know Like, how do they know he will protect them and provide for them? Like, how do they get to that place? Because verse 14 says this. He says, I am the good shepherd. I know my own sheep, and they know me just as my Father knows me, and I know the shepherd. So I sacrifice my life for the sheep. They know me. Well, I have to tell you guys, I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, what's a good idea, and how can I show you this? And then really what my mind went to is, first off, I'm not a shepherd, right? I'm not a shepherd, but I do own a German shepherd, right? I have a German shepherd. Would y'all like to meet him? Yes. Y'all like to meet my German shepherd? Yes. You would? Okay, cool. All right. Y'all think he's coming? Yes. He is. All right. Titus, come here, buddy. Titus, front. Titus, front. Come here, buddy. Come on. Come here. Come on, buddy. Up here. Come here. Come here. Front. Titus, front. See it. Come here. Come here. Come here. I know. To me. See it. See it. See it. See it. So this is Titus. Everybody say, hi, Titus. This is my wife, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Why did you wear that ugly sweatshirt? Okay. So this is Titus, right? So this is Titus, my German shepherd. Everybody say, hi, Titus. Hey, boy, he's a good boy. He likes treats, yeah. This is Titus. Titus is about 8 years old. He's my buddy. He's like, hey, everybody. He would I want to lick you. I want to lick you, right? And so this is Titus. But I want to share with you a little bit about Titus, right? So Titus, we've had him since he was a puppy, right? He's like, hey, there's mom. Michelle and I, we had him since he was a puppy. Sit. Oh, boy. And as a puppy, man, he would cry. He would whine. But, man, every day, his whole life, we have as a family, we protected him. We gave him somewhere to sleep. We gave him somewhere to eat when he whined and said, oh, I need some food. We gave him food. We do that every day. When he needs water, we give him water. Man, when he needs discipline, especially a lot as a puppy, right? We disciplined him lovingly. We weren't harsh to him. He learned that man, when we disciplined him, we really loved him. We had fun with him. We play a ball a lot. This guy loves to wrestle. The more you roar, he loves it, right? We have fun with him. He has joy. And then when he comes to us at night, when we come to him, he comes and he wants to get hurt when we have two little girls, when they go down, he comes and he wants love, and we show him love and affection. And you know what, Titus? Man, Titus knows my voice. You know that? Titus knows my voice. I could do some simple, lay down. Let's see, lay down, good boy. Yeah, easy, good boy. So he knows my voice, and you're like, well, that's real sweet. I would lay down if you had treats too, but you know what? He's been eating since he was a puppy. So these are his green patches. He knows this is good. Titus, lay down. Over. Yeah, he hates that one. Front, good boy. If you would really show off, stay. Release. No. He's so excited right now. But you know what else is pretty cool? Grant, if you'll come up for a second. Michelle, if you'll kind of walk over there with Titus, we'll see. Now, guys, this could absolutely fail. And if so, just have grace, because he's a dog. His brain's the size of a pea. But he's smart. He's pretty smart. But you know what's crazy and cool? Is Titus knows my voice. Titus knows my voice. And Titus usually just follows me when I call him. A lot of times, we could be out somewhere and maybe he'll chase something, and I'll call him and say, Titus, come here. And he'll come to me, and he knows my voice. So Michelle just took the leash off. Titus, stay. Now, Grant, I want you to call him. Stay. Mirror, Titus. Stay. Mirror. Now, Michelle's not holding him. Stay. Mirror, Titus. Mirror. Titus, front. Good boy. Sit. Good boy. Okay, Michelle, call him back real quick. So you're like, okay, give Grant a treat, right? That's cool. Here, Grant, you can have that. Titus, stay. Titus, stay. Michelle, tell him to stay. Stay. Y'all call him. Call him. Titus, stay. Titus, front. Good boy. So guys, Titus, if you notice, thank you, Grant. You can have the treat if you want to keep it. No, okay. Hey, y'all give Titus a hand. I think we over. It's a good boy. It's past Titus's bedtime, so he's gonna go home. Bye, buddy. We'll see you later, okay? Thanks, babe. Thank you. Bye, buddy. Bye, Titus. Everybody say bye, Titus. So now let's see if I can gain you back after that. So guys, listen, I want y'all to hear this. Man, Titus knows my voice. And you know why he chose to come to me when Grant was calling? Grant had a treat. I called him, and you know what? You know what's crazy? When I say, Titus, come, he doesn't come to the word come. I taught him to come to the word front. When I say, Titus, front, that's when he comes. You say, come. You're like, man, that's silly. Like, Grant didn't even know the word to say. You're right, because I know my dog. And he knows me. I know the language to speak because he's my dog. And you know what? A lot of times you and I, man, we hear the shepherd. We hear the good shepherd calling to us. We hear our master calling. But man, sometimes if we're real, man, if I'm being real with you, sometimes when the world starts saying, hey, come here. Sometimes I can take my eyes off the shepherd. I can take my eyes off the good shepherd. And I can go, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to follow the world. Even though I know since a young child that God is going to protect me, that God is going to lead me every day and give me what I need, that when I'm in trouble, when somebody's trying to destroy me, that he has me, that when I'm in need, that he's going to provide for me, that when I'm broken over something, he's going to meet me, that when I cry out to him, I'm like, God, there's stuff within me that is just not right. And when I do chase the world, I know that I'm going to stand before, I'm going to come back to God and he's going to say, I got you. So students, I want to ask you real quick. Jesus is speaking to a group of people here, actually. It says in verse 6, it says, they don't understand. Who's they? Well, the they are the Pharisees. The they are the Pharisees, and Jesus, to understand really the Pharisees, we have to back up a verse or two. In verse 40 in chapter 9, it says, some Pharisees who were standing nearby heard him and asked, are you blind? If you were blind, wouldn't you be guilty? Jesus replied, but you remain guilty because you claim you can see. And Jesus, again, he was speaking to the Pharisees. And man, if I'm being real, when I read about the Pharisees, like, if I'm just real, man, I'm like, I just want Jesus to like verbally just like KO the Pharisees, right? Like, I want him to just like put them in their place and the Pharisees be like, dang, you win. But I can't get too upset about the Pharisees, and here's why. Because a lot of times the Pharisee, man, if I'm honest, my heart can line up with them. My heart can line up with them because you see, the Pharisees, they were people who thought because of who they were and what they did, that they were good with God. They thought that, I do all the right things. I come to church. I'm not too bad. Like, I'm not as bad as that guy. I do the good things. I am a Pharisee. Because of those, them, they think that they were good with God. They thought that knowing about God and his word was the same thing as knowing God. See, those core beliefs led those Pharisees to focus more on others' actions than their own. And students often, adults often, they would miss the goodness of Jesus. They would miss that rich and abundant life because they were so concerned about being something they were not. Man, can any of y'all relate with that? That you're so concerned about being somebody you're not and concerned about other people that you miss the goodness of Jesus. And as frustrated as I can get with the Pharisees, man, I can't be too mad at them. Because, again, sometimes my heart looks a lot more like theirs than they do Jesus, than it does Jesus. Maybe you're the same. So tonight, as we close, I just want to ask you a few questions, and maybe you can relate here. And because of these things, because of our actions, because of our hearts, man, maybe we're at a place where we are just extremely underwhelmed with Jesus. And I think some kind of maybe just like flags, if you will, some kind of markers for you and I to check, because I know these are true in my life, is that first, if you are quick to see the flaws of other people and you're quick to point them out, you're quick to point out the flaws in others before you are yourself, maybe your heart's a little bit more aligned with a Pharisee. Maybe you get defensive when somebody points out your flaws, right? When somebody's like, hey, somebody you love, like, hey, can I chat with you about something? You're like, whoa, no. You get defensive when people that love you point out your flaws. Or maybe, how about this one? Maybe I've been here on this one. Maybe you feel like you're an expert on most things. Like, let me say it this way. When a sermon comes on, you're like, oh yeah, I got it. Oh yeah, I know that one. Instead of saying, Jesus, wash me fresh with your word. Or maybe simply, students, as I close, maybe simply this is the truth. That you have forgotten your deep need for Jesus Christ. That you have forgotten that he is the gate that saves you, but also the gate that protects you. Forgot that he is the shepherd that leads you. Man, if that's you, if you'd say, Robert, I kind of line up with you, my heart's kind of like that, man, I'd say welcome. Welcome. And know this. Know that Jesus knows you fully. Jesus knows you fully. He knows that about you. Man, he knows that about you. And he laid his life down for you. That he is going to lead you where you need to go. He will protect you if you let him. And that he is the only one trustworthy to follow. So students, you're like, all right, well, cool, now what? Man, you be like Titus. You be like a goofy dog. Why? Because you keep your eyes locked on your master. Keep your eyes locked on the one that leads you. And you bank in those promises. You bank in those truths. You bank in the goodness of the words of Jesus that says, I am your shepherd. I got you. I'll protect you. I'll guide you. I'll give you what you need if you will let me. You follow him.